Yes, welcome, dear friends. To whom will the votes of the young people that the president has lost go? And some segments are now in search of a third president. And why is Joe Biden campaigning for Donald Trump?
President Joe Biden's struggle with young voters has garnered significant attention. However, much less focus has been placed on Biden's relative strength among his contemporaries at the age of 81. While Biden's support among young voters in polls is currently well below the 2020 voting rate, several surveys indicate that he has maintained and even increased support among the older demographics. Despite the setback in the Supreme Court for Biden's plan to forgive student loan debts as a means of providing economic support to young voters, he has already delivered a series of tangible economic benefits for seniors, with more initiatives underway. If Biden cannot regain at least some of the ground lost with young voters since 2020, a better performance with the elderly alone is unlikely to save him. However, Biden's position among elderly voters has been relatively strong for him since the 2020 campaign. Mostly white and generally culturally conservative, the elderly have consistently favored Republican presidential candidates in the 21st century. Major data sources on voting behavior, including exit polls by Edison Research for a media consortium, including CNN, and calculations by the Democratic targeting firm Catalyst, are in agreement that Biden narrowly lost seniors to Donald Trump in 2020. I would also like to mention that a recent poll conducted in the United States reveals that approximately 60% of Americans disapprove of how Joe Biden is addressing the Israel-Palestine issue and the crisis in Gaza, with 3/4 of young people not approving of Biden on this matter. According to a recent survey by the New York Times and Siena College poll, more than half of Americans find fault with the way the Biden administration is handling the Gaza situation. In the same poll, confidence in former President Donald Trump regarding the resolution of the Israel-Palestine issue stands at 46%, while confidence in Biden is at 38%. Trump's odious rhetoric about the border must be rejected, but the Biden campaign speaks from both sides of its mouth. At a campaign rally in New Hampshire last Saturday, the former President Donald Trump repeated a claim he made back in September. Immigrants coming to the United States, he said, are poisoning the blood of our country. The phrase is particularly disturbing as it evokes Nazi language about blood and nation. The last time Trump uttered this poisoning the blood of our country phrase, criticism from historians and civil libertarians was swift. This time, Joe Biden's re-election campaign saw an opportunity and pounced. Donald Trump channeled his role models as he parroted Adolf Hitler. A Biden-Harris 2024 spokesperson wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter, adding that Trump is not shying away from his promise to lock up millions of people in detention camps. Yes, that's true, but while Trump's rhetoric and promises are odious and must be rejected, the Biden campaign is also talking out of both sides of its mouth. First, to Trump. By now, only a visitor from another planet, who would certainly be locked up by Trump for illegal entry, would be surprised by the ex-president's rhetoric. Trump's jingoistic ability to sow fear of foreigners and hatred of others is a large part of his right-wing populist appeal. Over the weekend, Trump also claimed that drugs, criminals, gang members, and terrorists are pouring into our country. He said the United States was facing something like a military invasion from would-be immigrants and asylum seekers, and promised to implement the largest deportation operation in American history.